Okay, well, this is the stump I always have the best fortune with. And of course, this time I am not disappointed. I came over here, and there's usually some various types of fungi on here. Of course, there's usually a weird variety of Pluratus on here, but it's the P. pulmonarius. And then, as you can see, we have a type of a Ganoderma. Ganoderma down here, real soft, kind of reminiscent of a type of a Lucidernia or a reishi. See how it's kind of pliable. But what I wanted to bring your attention was, stumps are pretty cool sometimes. But here's what I'm actually interested. This is a looks kind of like a. See how big this thing is? This is what I wanted to bring to your attention. I'm thinking it's going to be. I can't see on the bottom. It's a polypore. What's really weird is it's a polypore of some type. The bottom is porous. There's another one here. There's one down here on the bottom. Kind of smells funny. Ooh. Let's see the bottom here. It's fuzzy, doesn't have any teeth. Yeah, it's porous. Some kind of a giant fluid or some sort. So, let's knock one of these over and take a look. Yeah. Yep. It's going to be one of those weird ones. Now, you got to remember, we're around the stump here, and there's several varieties of fungi that grow around stumps, and some of them can be kind of weird. And I'm not really familiar with this one because I don't ever see them this large. I'm usually off into the woods, and I don't see any kind of. Like I said, this is. It's pretty large. It's porous on the bottom. See it? The alveoles on the bottom of it, or the pores, basically. Some of these can be poisonous, and some of these, well, if they're gilled, some of them aren't. There's one type that looks like this that I'm pretty familiar with, and I think it turns into something called possibly a lobster, but I don't think this is. It's pretty close because it looks like this on the bottom. So, let me think here for a minute. Alright, well, I took the good leisure of doing a vivisection of this one. It doesn't have an odor to it. It's got a lot of moisture in it, as you can see. See, definitely a polypore. It's pretty squishy. But yeah, it's on its last leg. Didn't see anything in my manual. So it's going to be one of them other ones. I'm like, well, what is it? Figure it out later. Yeah, it's another one of those polypores. Yeah, they're fixing to come through here and run all this over, so. Just found a whole bunch of honey mushrooms. Alright, here's some more of those funny looking polypore fungi running around the trunk here. These hickories. You know how I know these are hickories? Probably because, well, there's hickory nuts everywhere. There's a better shot of one of these. Like I said, I know I'm not the best photographer on the planet. Of course, the slugs have been eating this. It is a polypore. See the bottom of it? And I don't recommend going around destroying all of these. I'll just stick it back in the hole it came out of, right? Nobody will even know it's missing, right? There we go. Alright. Yeah, I know that's irresponsible conservation, but them things come through and tear this place up anyway. But this to me, I think I've seen one of these in some of the magazines. They have discussions thrown around the the mycological forums, and the so-called collegiate elitists that like to think they know how to speak Latin better than most. But yeah, this is what we're looking at. I think they call this one the root. It's got a root, so it's a rooted. It might just be the rooted polypore. Could be that. It didn't really have any description on whether or not, yes, here we go, get in there, whether or not it's edible or not, so that's going to be up to you. But I'm going to think it's probably in the rooted polypore family. It's just one big ugly old polypore that no one really knows much about probably, and it's got a really weird photo with one big giant root, taproot. So I don't really jack with those unless I know somebody that eats them or messes with them, but I don't recommend just going around eating fungi that you have no clue what it is. But this is a polypore. It's probably rooted because I pulled it up. It had a root structure attached to it. There's the other one over here. Let's just give it a little pull. Yeah, it's got definitely definitely got a root. So I'm going to assume that this is a rooted polypore, and that other one we've seen by the stump is just a really big cousin. So yeah, I think this is a rooted polypore because it grows by itself, most of them singly. Yeah, I know my lighting levels not really that great. Wish it was lighter out here. It's pretty large fungi. Yeah, I'm going to assume this is one of the rooted ones. Yeah, here's another one. Yep. Rooted polypore. Oh man, broke it. I didn't mean to do that. I was just gonna look, but see how we already screwed it up. Ugh. You know how you can tell if it's a rooted polypore? Well, it's kind of tough to pull up out of the ground because, well, the obvious is that it's got a root. That's kind of reminiscent of trying to pull up a tree, or something about like this. Well, that's a little bit tougher. But yeah, notice it has a root. It's really deep, so So I'm assuming this is the rooted polypore. And look how juicy that is. Ooh, squishy. There we go. Yep, sorry guys. Take one for the team, right? Rooted polypore. There we go. And I know the lighting's horrible. Okay, the Polyporus radicus, that's what they call it, radicus, or radicatus, radish. I think the radicus part probably comes from the word, you know, something reminiscent of a radish, more than likely. And on this particular polypore, as you can see, it's porous on the bottom. And the number one thing to remember, it's listed as inedible. Doesn't mean it's toxic, doesn't mean it's poisonous. It just means it's not choice. Okay? And as you can see, the most definite way to tell about this variety, see it's called the rooting polypore. It's going to have a root, which is probably the reason why they call it radicus, or radicatus. Like I said, radish. And this piece right here actually is the root. It goes down pretty far. If you try to pull this up with your hand, you know, it's going to be pretty lengthy. This came off a larger piece that I came back to get photos of today, and it was missing. So apparently someone ate it. So it probably would look something similar to this. Okay? But like I said, it was listed as all the mycological community that I've contacted that had any other experience with it other than myself. Supposedly this is non-toxic, non-poisonous. It's just not choice edible, and a lot of the ones they have listed like that, I have eaten, except for one or two of them not listed at all. A couple of the, like I said, one of the other persons that I spoke to, they said that basically this is listed as non-poisonous, non-toxic. It's just not choice edible. A lot of the fungi that I've used are listed in that category, basically, that I have eaten. The Pycnoporus cinnamerinus, which is the cinnamon red polypore, that's all hard like plastic. Yeah, that one eaten raw is not very wise. But like this one here, I guarantee you could probably eat this. It's just not going to be choice edible. It probably doesn't, not much to write home about. There's no flavor or anything, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to eat it, and I'm going to let you know what the results are, how I thought about it, what were the you know, the effects or the symptoms. But it's not listed as toxic, it's not listed as poisonous. So like I said, we're looking basically at the reason why this is named as such, because of the root. Okay, it's going to have a root down in the dirt. And it's difficult to pull up with the hand, like I said, like a radish or a carrot. And so that's pretty much, I guarantee, the reason why they call it that. Or they just call it the rooting polypore. So here's the root, but radicus, Polyporus radicatus, or radicus, probably radish. And cus usually means, where I'm from, usually means this piece right here is dark. Okay, so a cus. So I don't know why they call it that. That's just where I'm from. That's the name of something dark. Kush. Kush. Radicush. Kusha. So, yeah, I know. I got a weird family. But anyhow, this is the whole thing. And what I'm going to do is go ahead. I'm going to do a vivisection, add to this footage. So give me a second. Okay, as you can see here, I have performed what they call a vivisection. And here's what the inside of the Polyporus radicus. Like I said, yeah. Just got to figure out what the correct name would be, right? We just call it the rooting polypore, but it does have a name of Polyporus radicus. And as you can see here, this is what the inside looks like. Here's the gills, but it's polyporous, so you can see something kind of looks like reminiscent of little fibers. It's solid. Pretty much reminds me of the inside of a sunflower. The flowering part's kind of foamy. And here's the bottom piece, which I'm more likely probably going to cut off because of the dirt. And this is the #1 way you can tell what it is, just because of that root right there. There's not very many of them that do that I know of in this area. Like I said, I'm in the Ozarks. So Polyporus radicus. It's listed as an inedible, but it's not listed as toxic. It's not listed as poisonous. A lot of the other, like I said, experts that I consult in occasionally when we hobnob and chit chat with each other. No, pretty much it's just not choice edible. I'm going to go ahead and use this for food and see where that gets me. So I'll give you my results later on. And yeah, like I said, I thought I'd take this moment to post some better photos and information. Okay, I've also did a vivisection of the root, and as you can see, its flesh is white, solid. It reminds me reminiscent, kind of like rubber, like cutting through a tire. But this piece right here, the stem, yeah, the whole thing pretty much is just very rubbery in texture, and it's full of a lot of water. As you can see, watch here, I'll squeeze this. See all that juice coming out of it? So there you go. That's pretty much for a positive identification. You know, just like, is this really what that is? Yep, that's how you do it. It's got a root. It's very long, kind of hard to pull up out of the ground. The top's going to be brown. This, you know, this family variety here that grows in the Ozarks, where I'm at, Central Missouri. There we go. All right, I got some of the rooting polypore here, sauteing up in my alpine stowaway pot. You notice I got some rosemary bread here, trying to warm that up. And yeah, we're going to try some of this rooted polypore. I cut some of the best portions of it off I could get hold of, what was left of it. Some of it had worm bites taken out of it, you know, so you cut around it, get the best that you can. I thought it'd be cool to saute this up just plain as it is. And see what happens. So we're gonna toast some of this bread, this rosemary bread I got here from what's left over from yesterday. Try to warm this up. Like I said, just made a little fire. We're gonna saute these up and try them out and see what happens. So definitely we're gonna put the lid on this and kind of get all this stuff to cook, and leave it in here for about 15-20 minutes, saute it, soften this bread up a little bit, see how it tastes, right? Now leave that in there for a few minutes. It'll probably develop some steam, and we'll just try it plain. Don't mix it with anything else. That way we can definitely figure out if something goes wrong. We can identify it, you know, and like go, okay, yeah, that causes stomach problems or something, and I can let you out there know. But for now, the alpine stowaway pot is going to definitely do its job. So we'll leave this out so the handle don't get hot. We'll get back to that in a minute. Alright, well, let's try this Polyporus badius. No, that's not badius. Polyporus badius is the black-footed polypore. That's right, this is the Polyporus radicus. Put it on a sandwich. Ow. Ooh. Yeah, you might not want to do that, kids. Hurry up, Glenn. Alright, so we're going to put this, I put this in here for about 20 minutes. Steamed it real good. I'm going to put it on a sandwich. This is listed, this Polyporus radicus. I hope I'm saying that correctly. We just call it the rooting polypore. Well, there we go. Alright. So anyhow, as you can see, I got it on a sandwich right here. Ta-da. Down the hatch, right? It's just really rubbery and watery. It's not that bad. It just lists as an inedible. Hey, it's not that bad, realistically. Especially on the bread. Let's see what it tastes like by itself. It's just chewy. Yeah, it's not that bad. You'll live. Let's see how I feel a couple hours from now. Yeah, there goes my bread. Burnt. Yep, I messed that one up. Yeah, we're okay. I'll give you the report later on in a couple hours. See if I have any intestinal distress or trip out and see pink polar bears or something. It doesn't taste that bad on a sandwich, really don't. But off that one, there just wasn't a lot I could deal with because he apparently had been eaten by some bugs. Yeah, that's not too bad. If I would have got it sooner, it would have been all right. But in reference guides and things like that for here in central Missouri, the rooting polypore, which is listed as the Polyporus radicus, or radicus, is the stem for the rooting polypore, and it doesn't taste that bad. It's not that bad. I like it. Just make sure when you're eating or foraging for fungi in the woods, in the forest, right? Foraging for fungi in the forest, to always positively identify all trees, plants, and fungi before using for a food, beverage, hygiene, or any other domestic utility, and be able to use it responsibly. Because some trees, plants, and fungi are toxic and poisonous people, and we don't want any of you other fellow foragers out there getting sick or croaking on us, right? So I'm Glenn Ross. See you later, and thanks for joining me with the oh yeah, I burnt that one. Thank you for joining me with the Polyporus radicatus cooking part of a. No, I didn't say badius. You can't eat the badius yet. I haven't eaten the Polyporus radicatus. I don't even think it's not even listed on there as edible or non-edible or poisonous or non-poisonous. I don't know if anybody's even tried it. It's pretty rubbery. I don't know. You'd have to take some pressure cooking on that one. But the Polyporus radicus, or Polyporus radish stem, long stem. That is the number one way to tell when you go to pull it up. It's got a stem on it about that long, and it's okay. So I'll see you guys later, and thanks for hanging out with me. Can't believe I burnt that piece of bread.